Hi everybody, it's Franz from Fractal Trading. Let's have a look at week 16 and what has been going on in the markets. Now, just for clarification, if you want to know how I trade, how I use the system, you can view it on YouTube. I'm using the British Pound Canadian Weekly and the US Dollar Yen on the 15-minute chart to illustrate that this trend following approach really works on all the time frames. Now, what was interesting this week? Let's have a look at the US dollar yen on a weekly chart. We did have quite some upwards action in here, as you can see when you look at that candle. This is actually not a really good sign for a continuous downtrend, since we do have a higher high in this last week's candle compared to 3 weeks before and the previous week. Now the momentum is still heading down, but since overall, if you look at the monthly chart, the next higher time frame, this chart is not in a trending mode, excuse me, but rather trading inside the balance zone. We can really see that this is in a correction and this is not a trending market. However, it did yield some smaller profits on the smaller time frame. On the weekly here, you did get these breakout levels marked by fractals, as you can see here, and you could have shorted here. However, as it is trading in an overall correction, you want to have tight stops. You do not want to just let it run. The same situation is going on in the US dollar CFD index. Here I talked before about the possibility of this price moving to this green line, where the next obvious support level is, or where the extreme of this correction could be. There is a fractal right there that marks this area. It's also right between the red and the blue line, which means we are at the lower border of the balance zone, which is a major type of correction that likes to go there. It likes to exceed the balance zone quite a bit, and this is what we see in here as well. The fractal was taken, a couple of weeks have passed and prices did go lower. Those black lines indicate smaller support zones before the bigger one down here, and price now seems to have a little bit of a problem moving through. This is also because if you check the monthly chart, you can see that price is moving inside of the balance zone, meaning the moving averages that you see here actually indicate support levels, and price is trading inside them right now. This does not mean that it can't go further down. It might as well reach this fractal area here. You have a fractal on the left, and if you go over to the right where price is now, you end up at the red line, and this may be a very important support level for this uptrend. As you can see, you did have quite an impulsive move to the upside. Price in this area did not come close to any of the moving averages, and now for the first time it's breathing a little bit, as it has gone up so much so quickly. Be careful if you're short, since you're trading inside of a correction. This may eventually just keep on heading upwards. Let's have a look at an indice here. We're actually looking at the DAX index, the CFD of it. The weekly chart will be important, as you can see here, and as I talked about it the last time. You have a correction going on in here. As you can see, it's not a trending phase. You did not have a great opportunity to make money, even though small profits were possible. Now, since all of those fractals here, those two right there, this one eventually here, but over here as well, they all occur in the same kind of area around the 9,000 point mark. With this kind of price action, we did get a new fractal inside of the balance zone, and it's now exceeded to the upside. So an up fractal was created, prices retraced. At this point it was actually possible that the DAX continues down a little bit more, and now the opposite has happened. There was no new low below here. Instead you get this up fractal, and price exceeded it this week, and it closes above it quite significantly. So the higher it closes above the balance lines, the more important the breakout was. If it retraces back down right away, it may not be as significant. The Dow Jones index, also looking at the CFD, did not close so significantly above the breakout level. However, the body of the candle is still green, and the move is quite strong, moving out of the, or moving through the balance zone actually, and now approaching new all-time highs possibly. Who knows where this is going to end? As the trend follower, all you want to do is buy it, have risk management in place, know where you get out before you even open this position, so you never lose too much in case it doesn't go. However, it may as well continue its strength and make new highs. The correction that you see in this area here might as well be over. We will have to wait and see. Keep holding on to it, and take your loss if you have a position that is not showing you any profits. Last week I also mentioned gold. If you take a look at it on the weekly chart, what you will see is that prices are not able to stay stronger. They are above the balance zone, but you did get the second pin bar in a row now, and this is the weekly chart, so that's quite significant. We probably won't see any upwards action in the coming days or even weeks. Last week I was kind of speculating and saying that prices could come down here, reaching this fractal, taking it out, bouncing out of the balance zone, and then maybe continuing upwards. If this really is an upwards trend, this fractal here would be the next entry. If for now there may be a new one created here, we'll really have to see how long it takes price and how far down it wants to correct. If you look at the bigger picture of gold, again you can see that you have this massive divergence occurring over the course of 3 years, and now you have this impulsive move. It's getting corrected. You may as well see a continuation of that. A little bit clearer and a little bit more thankful for trend followers is silver, or silver has been more thankful here in the past week. As you can see, you have the same situation going on. There is a divergence. There's even another divergence from this point to this point. As you can see, the momentum indicator is much lower here than it is here, even though prices did make new lows. You get this impulsive move as well, and two fractals are created. Last week I was talking about this one being hit, and the week supported this view. Let's see if we get any higher. You do have new resistance areas right here where these extreme fractals are. This fractal and this one right there are merely inside highs. There are corrections going on internally, and they can be shown on the higher time frame by fractals. You want to look at the outside fractals. They will be the most significant areas if you trade this time frame. Prices in silver did actually spike out all the way to 1770 almost, at least, and now we are closing out at 1693. So the week did see some pullback. We are far away from the balance zone. We really are moving out. It seems to be quite the impulse. It may be true that silver continues up. As the trend follower, all you want to do is hold on until you're told otherwise. Now there are more possibilities going on in the forex market, where you could see a trend unfolding. If you take a look at the Euro Australian dollar, you do have a divergence from this area here to over here. It's not so significant, but still it's a really high time frame, and this one actually or here the signals are more precise. They don't occur so often, and one divergence will often just do it. You don't need to wait for 3 or 4 like the daily chart will often need. If you get this divergence from the uptrend and you then get new fractals on the other side, you want to take them for a bigger type of correction going on. It may actually come down to the low of the previous correction, which is this area right here, in our case in the Euro Australian. The fractal has been taken, or one of the fractals has been taken last week. Now your short prices did not close below the breakout level, however that doesn't really mean anything. You do have clearly and nice long red candles indicating a bearish movement in here. Again, risk management is key. You kind of have the same situation in the Euro Canadian. The fractal was taken the week before. You also have divergence between this high and those higher highs, but the indicator did not go higher. Another fractal, or just one fractal, is created below the balance zone right there, and it has been taken. Prices really dropped down last week, and as you can see, they were even able to close below this breakout level quite significantly. Other interesting pairs in the forex market are the Australian Swiss franc. If you have a look at this, it's the same situation as in the euro pairs I just showed you. You do get a divergence from a previous move in the opposite direction, and now you get fractals on the long side, and it has been hit in this market here. The monthly chart also looks favorable. You do get a market that has hit significant lows. It has turned on this candle before you get this fractal right here, which is exactly in the same area as those fractals on the left, which occurred back in 2008 and 2011. So this obviously is quite an important support area. We might see a bounce out of this. Who knows where it's going to go. The fractal has been hit, so let's just wait and see. The same thing is kind of true for the Australian Canadian. You do get a movement here which is more of a side move than anything else. It does create fractals. It also breaks them, but they are not, those breaks are not successful. Instead you get this impulse to the other side, and now there is a fractal created right here. If you have a look at the weekly chart, you can see that it's not quite as bullish. It hasn't been as bullish last week. However, before this area is taken out, this buy signal right here is still valid. Hopefully that gave you some insight into what is going on currently. Of course, we are looking at really high time frames. You do want to hold your positions for weeks and weeks, if not even half a year or longer, to let trends develop. I'm just giving you some ideas. If you want to trade lower time frames, such as the daily chart, you can profit from these weekly moves internally. You will have a lot more trades. You will have a lot more or a lot smaller profits and a lot more losses. However, risk management will keep you on track and make you nice profits on those time frames as well. Have a good weekend and a good trading week next week.